Ever heard the saying, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me"? Well, some people get fooled over and over again by the same person. You didn't break up because things were perfect. So why do you think getting back together will magically fix everything? They say love is blind, but ignoring red flags. That's a choice. Picture this, you're finally starting to move on. You've stopped stalking their social media. You're feeling stronger. Then, out of nowhere, "Hey, I miss you." Your heart skips a beat. Your brain starts playing a highlight reel of all the good moments, the laughs, the late night talks, the inside jokes. But here's the thing. That's not the full story, is it? You don't immediately think about the nights you cried yourself to sleep, the moments they made you feel small, the empty promises, the broken trust. Because nostalgia is tricky, it makes you remember the love, but forget the lessons. The brutal truth. And that's exactly why so many people fall back into toxic cycles. Not because they don't know better, but because they choose to believe in potential instead of patterns. But what if I told you that ignoring these 3 red flags could cost you more than just time? It could cost you your self-respect, your peace, and your chance at real happiness. Today, we're exposing the 3 biggest red flags that tell you loud and clear, don't go back. If you ignore these, you might just be signing up for heartbreak all over again. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to protect yourself from making the same mistake twice. The common myth, maybe this time it'll be different. You've probably heard it all before. Maybe this time will be different. Maybe they've changed. But if you're being honest, deep down you know this myth doesn't hold water. Why? Because if someone broke your trust, hurt you, or made you feel unworthy, what's going to make you think that just a few weeks or months apart has magically transformed them into a whole new person? The reality is, unless there's tangible, sustained change, and I mean real effort to heal and grow, the pattern is likely to repeat. It's not about second chances, it's about whether they've truly learned from their mistakes. Tristan Thompson, Khloe Kardashian. Look at the very public roller coaster between Tristan Thompson and Khloe Kardashian. Despite numerous breaks and reconciliations, the history of betrayal and broken trust continued to repeat itself. Each time they gave it another shot, it ended the same way. Not because there was no love, but because the same issues, infidelity, lack of accountability, kept resurfacing. The truth is, history repeats itself unless there is real, lasting change. A few nice gestures or apologies don't fix the deep-rooted issues. Without change, the same pattern will keep coming back. Red flag 1. They haven't actually changed. The illusion of change. Let's be real, people don't change overnight. Just because your ex says "I've changed" doesn't mean they actually have. Words are easy, promises are easy, but real change, that takes time, effort, and consistent actions. So ask yourself, are they showing real growth? Or are they just saying what you want to hear? The highlight reel trap. Hey, think about this. If someone goes to the gym once, do they instantly have abs? No. Real transformation, whether it's physical, emotional, or behavioral, takes effort. But when an ex comes back, they often try to sell you the new and improved version of themselves, just like a movie trailer that only shows the best parts. But here's the thing, when you actually go back, the full movie plays, and most of the time, it's the same old story. Signs they haven't actually changed. They say they've changed, but when you ask how, they have no real answer. They make big promises, but their actions don't match their words. They try to rush you back into the relationship instead of proving their growth over time. They still blame you for past problems instead of taking real accountability. Real life example, the cycle of repeating mistakes. Remember when Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez kept getting back together? Each time, they thought things would be different. But why did it always fall apart? Because no real change happened, only temporary adjustments. Even in business, look at someone like Elon Musk. He doesn't just hope Tesla improves, he actively innovates, takes criticism, and adapts. That's real change. If your ex isn't showing that level of self-awareness and growth, then they're just repackaging the same version of themselves and hoping you'll buy it. The harsh reality check. If someone truly changed, they wouldn't have to convince you, they'd show you. Real change is quiet. It's consistent, and it happens whether you're watching or not. So before you even think about going back, ask yourself, are they showing proof of change? Or are they just playing the part long enough to get you back? Red flag 2, you're only getting back together out of loneliness. The comfort fees. Love confusion. Let's be honest, sometimes we don't miss our ex. We miss the idea of them. We miss having someone to text, someone to cuddle, someone to fill the empty spaces in our day. But here's the problem. Loneliness is a terrible reason to go back to someone who wasn't right for you. The familiarity bias. Psychologists call this familiarity bias that our brains crave what's known, even if it's unhealthy. It's why people stay in bad jobs, why they return to bad habits, and why they go back to exes who never truly made them happy. Your ex might not even be right for you, but because they're familiar, they feel safer than the unknown. But growth doesn't happen in comfort zones, it happens when you're willing to step into the unknown. Real-life example, the fear of being alone. Look at Jennifer Lopez. She's been in high-profile relationships her entire life, bouncing from one to another. Some people aren't afraid of love, they're afraid of being alone. And that fear pushes them to make decisions they later regret. But then look at someone like Oprah Winfrey. She took years to focus on herself, her career, and her personal growth before committing to a long-term relationship. And because of that, she chose from a place of clarity, not desperation. Signs you're only going back because you're lonely. You feel an emotional void and assume your ex is the only one who can fill it. You're not excited about rekindling love, you're just afraid of starting over. You romanticize the past but ignore the actual problems that made you break up. You're settling for what's available instead of waiting for what's right. The hard truth. Going back to an ex out of loneliness is like reheating a meal you already didn't like. It might satisfy you for a moment, but deep down you know you deserve better. The next time you miss them, ask yourself, do I miss them? Or do I just miss having someone? Because if it's the second one, then you're not missing love, you're just afraid of being alone. Red flag 3. The relationship was repeatedly toxic. Understanding toxic patterns. It's easy to romanticize the good times in a relationship and forget the bad. But here's the harsh truth. If your relationship was repeatedly toxic, where emotional manipulation, disrespect, or constant drama were the norm, then going back to it is a huge red flag. Toxic relationships aren't just about a single fight or disagreement. They're about a constant pattern of behavior that chips away at your happiness and self-esteem. So ask yourself, did your ex respect you and your boundaries, or did they keep crossing them without apology? The emotional roller coaster. Toxic relationships often feel like an emotional roller coaster. One minute you're high, experiencing the rush of love, and the next you're crashing, feeling drained and confused. If your relationship kept cycling between moments of bliss and chaos, it's a sign that things weren't healthy from the start. Real love doesn't create confusion. It doesn't leave you questioning your worth, your value, or your sanity. If you felt more stress than joy, more sadness than excitement, then that's a red flag you can't ignore. Signs you wear in a toxic relationship. There were more arguments than peaceful moments, and they were often about the same issues that never got resolved. Your ex repeatedly broke your trust, whether emotionally, mentally, or even physically. You were made to feel like your feelings didn't matter, or that you were too emotional for expressing them. They made you feel guilty for wanting space, time for yourself, or setting healthy boundaries. You found yourself questioning your self-worth, constantly apologizing, or changing who you were to make them happy. Real-life example: the cycle of toxicity. Look at a high-profile relationship like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Despite their intense moments of passion, their relationship was marked by toxicity. They both hurt each other emotionally and physically, and despite both claiming to love each other, they couldn't escape the toxic cycles. No matter how many apologies or promises were made, the toxicity never fully changed. Even in more relatable cases, consider someone who finds themselves getting into one unhealthy relationship after another if the same issues keep happening. It's not just bad luck, it's a pattern. Real love doesn't create confusion. It doesn't leave you questioning your worth, your value, or your sanity. If you felt more stress than joy, more sadness than excitement, then that's a red flag you can't ignore. Signs you were in a toxic relationship. There were more arguments than peaceful moments, and they were often about the same issues that never got resolved. Your ex repeatedly broke your trust, whether emotionally, mentally, or even physically. You were made to feel like your feelings didn't matter, or that you were too emotional for expressing them. They made you feel guilty for wanting space, time for yourself, or setting healthy boundaries. You found yourself questioning your self-worth, constantly apologizing, or changing who you were to make them happy. Real-life example: the cycle of toxicity. Look at a high-profile relationship like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Despite their intense moments of passion, their relationship was marked by toxicity. They both hurt each other emotionally and physically, and despite both claiming to love each other, they couldn't escape the toxic cycles. No matter how many apologies or promises were made, the toxicity never fully changed. Even in more relatable cases, consider someone who finds themselves getting into one unhealthy relationship after another if the same issues keep happening. It's not just bad luck, it's a pattern. The trap of going back to toxicity. The scariest part of toxic relationships is that they can feel oddly familiar, even comforting. If you've been through this kind of emotional turmoil before, you might start to believe you need that chaos to feel alive or connected. But that's the manipulation speaking, not love. Going back to a toxic relationship is like willingly getting on a roller coaster that's broken and keeps sending you on loops you can't control. It's fun for a while, but it's only a matter of time before the crash happens again. The key question to ask yourself: did your ex bring out the best in you, or did they make you feel like you were constantly walking on eggshells, second-guessing everything you did? If you're not sure, then take a step back. Real love is about mutual respect, trust, and care. If those things were repeatedly violated, then it's time to seriously reconsider if going back is the right move. The question you need to ask yourself: we've broken down the 3 red flags. Now, I want you to do something that's not easy. Take a step back and ask yourself, am I really ready for a relationship, or am I just afraid of being alone? Emotional healing requires self-awareness. It's the only way to stop the cycle of bad choices. If you can't answer this question honestly, then maybe it's time to focus on yourself before jumping into something that could hurt you again. The importance of being single and loving it. Here's the truth: there's power in being single. It's the time when you heal, grow, and rediscover who you are outside of a relationship. It's when you get clarity about what you want and need, so you don't settle for less. Being single isn't a punishment. It's a privilege. It's the space where real personal growth happens, so don't rush to fill that void with something that won't help you grow. So, after everything we've discussed today, let me leave you with this. Relationships aren't about filling a void, they're about two people bringing their best selves to the table. If you're not both doing that, you're just repeating history. If you ignore these red flags, you risk being stuck in the same emotional loops, never breaking free from the past. But if you choose to walk away, to face your fears of loneliness, and to focus on your own growth, you're setting yourself up for a stronger, healthier future, whether or not that future involves your ex. If you've ever found yourself thinking, maybe this time will be different, but deep down you know you're just repeating the same mistakes, drop a comment below. Let me know, what's the biggest lesson you've learned from getting back with an ex? And if you want more content on emotional intelligence, self-love, and how to avoid heartbreak, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're here to help you navigate life's challenges and build a mindset that leads to lasting happiness. Remember, you are in control of your own story. Don't let anyone else rewrite it. If you want to learn more about how to make stronger, healthier relationship decisions, check out these videos right here. Thanks for watching.